Good morning, good afternoon, LinkedIn family and Facebook family and YouTube family. Thank you so much for joining me on another Coffee with Bob. Sorry for the initial technical difficulties. I got to get my timing better, Adam. When you get to start the music, my intro is only 15 seconds, right? So, but the live sometimes takes longer than 15 seconds to kick in, and it's just what a nightmare. But anyway, so today on the show, I've got the awesome Adam Marx. He's known as the 0 to 1 networker and the guy with the orange glasses. For those of you that are on LinkedIn and Twitter, you probably know Adam very well. He's always giving out great information on how to build your network and how to maximize your connections. And I've known Adam for a short time, but we've kind of developed a nice little friendship. I got to say happy birthday to him via video a few months ago, which I thought was really cool.
That was great. That was like it was heartwarming because it was such a surprise. My mom pulls me over from the party and she's like, "Hey, I got some messages from some people in your network." And it was just this long list of just incredible people and people whom I truly respect, and to hear happy birthday from those people was just truly wonderful.
I'll tell you, I was honored. You made it when you have someone's mom call you and say, "Hey, can you wish Adam a happy birthday?" And yeah, sure.
Possibly one of the most Jewish mother things she did in that span of time.
Yeah, I was like, by the way, how did you get my number?
I have no idea, but she's a networker like I am, so she has resources.
Yeah, she was awesome. She cracked me up. That was fun. It was fun to do that. So I felt very honored. I'm so glad that she allowed me to do that. So anyway, Adam, let's get you introduced to everyone here on these platforms, right? Tell us a little bit about what it means to be a 0 to 1 networker.
Yeah, it's an idea that kind of snuck up on me because I began my journey post-college. I did the music thing in high school, did the college radio show thing in when I got to college. And so I was very much in the music world. And I didn't realize at the time, one of the things I was really doing was learning how to network, learning how to talk to people. So, talking to artists and bands and producers and, building a network of just different people with different talents and enjoying being the conduit for a lot of conversations. Mm-hmm. And when I left college and started my career in startups and tech, I used a lot of those same tactics, again, without really thinking about it, without really noticing. And it wasn't really until I got heavily onto LinkedIn in 2018 or so that I realized that a lot of these tactics are applicable across a variety of industries. It's not just music. It's not just tech startups. And when I started thinking really deeply about it, first I was thinking about branding. People are like, "Oh, the orange sunglasses, it's such great branding." And sometimes great brands just kind of sneak up on you. I didn't set out to be the guy with the orange sunglasses. It was just something that I wear, and people started identifying it as part of my brand. And when COVID hit, I started shifting a lot of my content from being really around branding to really around networking, which is, the two are inextricably linked. But I think that when people hear the word branding, they think of like logo design and website design and marketing campaigns, and all those things are certainly critically important. But those aren't the things that I really focus on. I really started to drill down to, what do I love to do? I love to talk to people. I love to get in front of people and start conversations, and I love to help other people do that. And so when COVID happened and everyone's getting whipsawed because, everything just turned upside down, people lost jobs, they got furloughed, mm-hmm. They were oftentimes put in positions that none of us could have prepared for. A lot of what I was seeing online, I'm sure a lot of people saw too, were looking for jobs, looking for opportunities, looking for ways to pay the bills, right? Opportunities to get income in the door. And I started really focusing a lot of my content around networking. How do you get in front of the people that you want to get in front of? So it could be investors, it could be journalists, it could be potential customers or potential partners. Like it could be anybody, but these same tactics work across the board. And I set out to put together a core concept of ideas and strategies that didn't require a particular degree, didn't require going to school somewhere or going to school, going to college at all. I wanted to drill down to ideas that anybody could do, anybody could start to employ. So things like patience, humility, empathy, value creation. These are things that sound very kind of, ambiguous, but they're only ambiguous until the day they work. And then they're like not so ambiguous. And it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. And these are the same tactics that I've used to build, frankly, a staggering network, to get access to venture capitalists, to get access to journalists, to get access to, local politicians, to build a network in politics and to build, whatever your network is, or whatever you want to bring into your network and the kind of brand you want to build, it starts with how you talk to people. It starts with how you approach people. It starts with shifting your mindset so that you say, yeah, I could talk to that person, right? They could be the CEO of your company. You could still have a very, very mutually beneficial conversation. And so there's a lot of shifting of mindsets to make those opportunities possible. And then when you see them, it's like you can't unsee them.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of
the 90,000 foot view of what it is, right? So when you get one of the really things that I like about you is that you are so free with sharing of your knowledge and of your advice, and when you do network, right, you're very free in introducing people and connecting people, which I really like. I have another really good friend, Corey. You know Corey.
Yeah. Corey and I are good friends.
Good. And you guys are very similar, right? In your thought processes and the way you go about networking, which is another thing that I really like. I mean, some of you guys may not know, Corey Warfield is another super connector, and lives here in the Chicagoland area by me. So he and I get together often and discuss some of these things. And we both have a passion for helping people connect, helping people build their networks. So it was kind of natural that when I hooked up and met Adam, that, it just kind of blossomed there because he's of that same track. So when you meet with people, right, when people come to you and say, hey, Adam, how do I build my network today? How do I get going today? And I get the humility. I get the gratitude portion of it because I'm a big believer in all that. What are some of the ways that you engage with people? How can people engage with you to take advantage of your knowledge and learn from you?
That's a great question. I think that a big part, especially for me, because I've had conversations, I tell people I'm kind of like the Pawn Stars guy, right? The bald guy from Pawn Stars, where he said, oh, I got a buddy, right? That's my guilty pleasure. And he's got a buddy for cars and toys and old books and whatever. And I like to be the person at the nexus of lots of different networks. And I just like to know a lot of people. It's just fun for me to have those conversations. I'll answer that by saying there's certain ways not to approach people, right? Because there's lots of good ways to approach people. There are also some ways to just not approach people. And I think that one of those ways is approaching somebody as if they owe you something, right? There's a lot of bad things that people should avoid doing. That's one of them. It's taken me years to build my network. And if I like you, like we can do a deal, we can figure something out. I'm a big fan of creative solutions. But recognize that whether it's me or somebody else or you, like you have a huge network, just because I offer to talk to you and we have a great chat and whatever, Doesn't mean that my time isn't valuable. Doesn't mean that my expertise isn't valuable. Doesn't mean I owe you anything. And sometimes people come away or even enter a dialogue with that mentality of this person owes me something. And that's a non-starter.
Right.
Just don't do that. I mean, there's no other way to say just don't do that. A better way of approaching people is what I call non-transactional networking. I have these broad concepts that I stick to consistently. So non-transactional networking is one of them. And it doesn't, people hear non-transactional and they think, oh, that means don't do business. That's not what it means. Do business. Business is good. But recognize that great business is built on great networks. And great networks are built on great relationships. And great relationships are built on consistent, valuable, and mutually beneficial conversations. You gotta start at the bottom, building the groundwork. And once you have those consistent conversations and you've built that rapport, you will be surprised, shocked at who you have access to. It becomes staggering. You wake up, I never go to sleep anymore. And I'm in tech and startups. I'm in, entrepreneurship and freelance and all that. I never, ever worry about getting access to venture capitalists or to press. It's not the same as saying those people are automatically going to write me a check. I mean, let's not think that that's the reality. But in terms of having the ability to talk to somebody and for them to know who I am and for them to know what my brand is about and what my messaging is about, I never worry about that anymore. It's just not a worry I go to sleep with or wake up with.
Yeah.
There are lots of other challenges.
Yeah.
But
and I think that's
a lot of stress.
Yeah, I think that's important. An important point that you're making there that I want people to realize that, whether on LinkedIn, whether on Twitter, or even Facebook for that matter, I'm not a big Facebook fan, even though I'm streaming on Facebook right now because of the negativity that's involved most times. But it's all about building a relationship, right? I think nothing turns me off more when someone reaches out to me with a canned email message saying that, and you could tell where they're inserting your words. They don't even change the fact that, and that's one of the reasons why, if you look at my profile, my profile name is all in caps. It says Robert Seeger, servant leader, right? So I get canned messages that say, "Dear Robert Seeger, servant leader," all in caps. I know that they haven't looked at it.
Precisely.
Right.
Precisely.
And immediately they try to sell me something. That's not a way. They don't even know if I have a need for it. That's not a way to build a relationship, right?
Well, and it goes even deeper than that, right? Because A, that's not attractive. But B, when you think about it, first of all, if you try to sell me something in the first 2 minutes, you're telegraphing a whole lot of things that you probably shouldn't be telegraphing. You definitely shouldn't be telegraphing. The first is that you don't know your market. Because I may not be your target demographic, but maybe I know people who could use your service or could benefit from your product. And we could figure that out if we have an open dialogue. I'm a big fan of open dialogues. And like I said, creative solutions. So if we have that kind of back and forth and I say, Bob would really appreciate this. Maybe he needs this kind of service. Let me make a connection. Let me see if there's something there. Okay, that's a benefit, but that you don't get there by trying to sell it to me immediately. And then the second thing is almost as important. If you try to sell me your product or service within the first 30 seconds, minute and a half, what I get, I don't know if other people get this, is it's got a very short half-life. It tells me that your sale can't wait at least 15 or 20 minutes, which tells me your product or service isn't very good, or you don't have any faith in it. That's the signal I'm getting. That I'm not getting that you're excited and this is a great product. It's you're trying to get this off the shelves because the value is going to disappear really quickly. And I think that that's critical for people to understand with networking, because it rolls into this. There's a lot of networking gospel out there that sounds wonderful in a tweet and it doesn't work in practice. So things like always have an ask, which sounds really good, sounds like it makes a lot of sense. But in practice, it's not so fantastic because it's an extreme. When I hear always have an ask, what I try to shift that to is have a reason for having the conversation, have a reason for starting that rapport. And it doesn't always have to be business. In fact, most of my conversations, most of my relationships that have become business oriented, colleagues, peers, they didn't start with me pitching something. A lot of them started with, hey, you like Metallica? I like Metallica. Have you seen this great link? Or, sharing a GIF of a funny TV show, or, doubling down on sharing somebody else's product or mission because it's something I believe in. If it's, diversity driven, or something that's, helping to save the environment, or, just things that I believe in, that's a mission that isn't about me, or isn't about me specifically. It's about a collective community. And when you do that, you build ridiculous networks very quickly, comparatively speaking. And it's not about selling. Sales can come later. It's about opening those lines of communication.
Right. Well, it's all about what you put out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get it back. I'm a big believer in that. So I connect people up all the time. It's amazing. I've been on LinkedIn since the very beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just about at my max for connections. The reason I say just about is because I've been pruning some back. So I'm back down to, I think I have maybe 40 connections left to make at this point before I max out again. So I'm going to prune some more. But my point is, it's built over the years, and since I've become even more actively engaging over the last, 5-10 years or so, I've been able to help people make connections, right? Which feels good to me, right? And I've never wanted anything else but to make those types of connections with people and help them build their networks and help them find a job, as an example, right? Or maybe they need a product. I'll give you a good example. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with a woman by the name of Christina Lucia, and she's a wonderful. I've had her on Coffee with Bob. We did a Christmas. You were on the Christmas special.
Yeah, I was on the Christmas. That's how I know her. Right. Precisely.
Right. And she's in the process of getting ready to publish her children's book.
That's
and
great.
I said, hey, I know someone. I know Morgan Gist from Paper Raven Book Publishers. So
that's crazy.
We hook each other. But that is the power of networking, right? That's the power of building a good network up where people, when you talk to them, like when I talk to you, Adam, I know I'm going to get good information, right? And so because we have a good relationship, if you come to me and say, hey, can you talk to this person? I'm all over it. Right. And that's where the real power is. And that's where the business relationships start too, because now there's a trust built in.
Precisely. And you beat me to it. There's a trust. And I think that one of the things that I espouse all the time, and maybe we've talked about it on the show, maybe I can't remember if we have, I have developed this concept. I have all these concepts. I should write them all down at some point, called the 300 Club. Right. And it's a concept I started developing during my time on tech Twitter. And the concept, it revolves around this notion that in any given community, whether it's tech Twitter or branding business LinkedIn or sports Twitter or whatever, there's usually a core group of people, 300 to 400 people who are driving that conversation daily. Okay. And they may revolve. There may be, new people coming in and leaving, whatever, but you usually have those same people just popping up again and again and again. And it doesn't always mean people with 40,000 followers. It could be 1,000 followers, could be 100,000 followers. But the point is that those people are consistently in that conversation. So when people talk about feeling daunted, feeling how do I make any headway? Where do I start in terms of networking? Who do I talk to? I mean, this stuff is very understandably daunting sometimes. And if you start to identify some of those people, they're clearly creating value, right? And not everybody gets along with everybody all the time. I mean, that's what you kind of learn is when you get to that echelon, when you're in that club, when you find a way to break in, and I'll talk about that in a second, what you realize is everybody knows everybody. And that's the way it feels. It's like the music world in that sense. Everybody knows everybody. They don't all get along because there are egos at play, and people are people, and that's okay. But the question becomes, well, how do I break in? Do I have to go get 40,000 followers? No. You find maybe 5 or 10 of those people who you feel provide real value to your feed or to your growth, and start to engage with those people. And if you pick up one, it's going to be easier to pick up another. You pick up 3 or 4 of those people, you are in, because they're going to start to tag you. They're going to start to talk to other people about you positively. They're going to start to invite you into conversations. So, on LinkedIn, when we talk, Corey and Rachel Beck, who's like a wonderful, wonderful friend of mine. And like you all 3 and other people who we know have like massive footprints, way bigger than I do on LinkedIn. But we all know each other. We all do, guest spots on each other's shows. And Corey was on my panel I put together last year. And you just, once you're in that, you're in it, and you begin to see new opportunities and become invited to new opportunities. And you do that through consistent engagement, positive engagement. And, 80%, 85% probably of everything I post across whatever social platform is supporting other people. It's not about, oh, I'm so special, I'm so great, I'm fantastic. It's this person's working on an amazing company. This person's working on an amazing mission. You should support them. This is an amazing person. You should go hire them because they're fantastic. And generally putting out content that tells people you can do this. Mm-hmm. I built my network from scratch. I didn't know anybody. It's not like I, inherited it from my parents. They're just not in this business. They're in a totally separate business. And I've done this. I built my music network from scratch. And I started over and built my tech network from scratch. And I started over and built my LinkedIn network from scratch. I mean, unless you count the people who I was connected to when I was in high school,
right?
Right. And so these things are very doable, but they seem that they're not doable. And that's why I think a lot of people are dissuaded from doing them.
Yeah.
And it's a mentality that you need to wake up and say, okay, today I'm going to brush my teeth, right? It's a habit. Today I'm going to talk to 2 or 3 new people, and I'm going to leave 2 or 3 positive comments, and that's all I have to do. It's very digestible, and it will build.
Yeah, it's a definitely slow burn, I think. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, I've been on LinkedIn since it first started, and it's only kind of blown up recently for me because it's all about the engagement, right? And mm-hmm. it's like you said, it's all about being positive, I think. What I love about LinkedIn, the community itself, for the most part, it's pretty positive. Mm-hmm. I mean, we get to our political times, right? Election time, and then you get some people that come out here. We do have our group of creeps out there that
always
like to message the females, which I think is totally inappropriate. And I wish there was a way to kick them off of LinkedIn, other than report or block them. But by and large, it's a great place to be, to not only educate yourself, to learn, but to feed your soul, right?
100%.
And that's one of the things I like about what you do is that you put out all this great, useful, actionable information that anybody can use in order to grow their networks, right? And in order mm-hmm. to grow themselves.
Well, I want to comment on the just a moment ago you're talking about, any social network is going to come with people who are toxic.
Right.
But, this is the very first time that I ever went viral on LinkedIn was, I have a friend, she's an engineer, she builds roads. I mean, stuff I'm not smart enough to do. But she had seen something had popped up in her feed, and she's not like a real social media LinkedIn user. But she knows I am. She sent me something. It was a screenshot. Something had popped up on her feed. It was an article that was written by by a female engineer, construction person in like Australia, New Zealand, and it was just an interesting article. And she sent me a screenshot of some of the comments, and some of them were just just abhorrent. I mean, just like use your imagination, sexist, abhorrent. And it was really, and she's like, this is the reason, one of the reasons I'm not on LinkedIn. Like, and so I went and found the article. I went and found the link. I went and found the person, and I shared it. And I basically just wrote a post because I was really upset by this, saying like, listen, this is ridiculous. This is bullshit. If you are, this is an amazing article by somebody who's clearly smarter than me in this capacity, and somebody who's clearly very accomplished. And I just wrote a post. I was like, listen, if you're frankly, if you're female or if you're LGBT or if you're, whatever, and you're feeling like you don't belong because of this junk, let me just tell you, this isn't most people. These are just trolls. Like, you belong. We benefit from learning from you, whatever it is, whether you're in branding or marketing or medicine, whatever. And I just put it up. I didn't think about it. And I did like 20 or 30,000 views, and like the comments were incredibly humbling to me, because it was like some women left comments like, I was about to leave LinkedIn, and then I read this and I was like, now I feel like I can go back and do it again, or this has happened to me. And it happens to so many people.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the very first time I went viral. And I think it's very appropriate that the very first time I had a big, wide audience was on something that wasn't about me. It was about supporting other people. And that's a core tenet to what I do and how I believe networks are built. So, when I was going viral last year, I mean, I did like hundreds of thousands of views over a few weeks, over a few months. It was crazy. I was going viral by sharing other people's posts, not by writing, like earth-shattering realizations. It was just like, oh, this person wrote a great piece, a great post on marketing. I really appreciated points 2, 4, and 7. I'd love to hear more about point number 9, and go check them out. Like, and I threw in a few hashtags, and I was doing it on days where I didn't feel like I had anything great original to say that day. So I figured, well, I'll just share somebody else's content, always credit them at the top, be positive about what you got out of it. Mm-hmm. And it did like 40,000 views, 100,000 views, 200,000 views. It was crazy. I couldn't keep up with all the notifications. I don't know how you do, frankly.
Yeah, I do the same thing, right? So I have, since I've been doing Coffee with Bob, I used to do feature and follow Fridays, where I'd feature someone that, I really enjoyed and wrote about them to help them build their networks. And more recently, I started sharing. So Christina Yeoman, I don't know if you know her or not, or if you're connected with her. She's amazing. She works with, I'm going to say this wrong, but kids and people who have ADHD and are neurodivergent, right? And she's helping them become entrepreneurs and businesses. And she's putting together this survey. Christina Yeoman, I'll try and tag her in the comments. She wants to survey people with ADHD and are neurodivergent, right? And to get information, because no one has done something like this before. So she's kind of the first to do it. And I read this post and I'm like, this is amazing what she's doing. I got to help. So I went ahead and I posted it just earlier this week. Within 24 hours, it had almost 100,000 views.
That's great.
I'm like, wow. I was like amazed by it. And I've shared it before, and it's funny what things hit and what things don't. So This morning, a good friend, Michael Ray out of St. Louis. I don't know if you know Michael Ray or not, but Michael Ray has what's called the Smile Project Louisville. And did I say St. Louis? Louisville, Kentucky. The Smile Project Louisville, where it's his mission in life to spread smiles and love. I mean, that's basically it. I mean, he works with
a great mission.
Yeah, he's got a daughter who has Downs. So that's really what the mission is all about, supporting people like that. And he always does posts on Friday, right? Friday fun. And it's with him and his daughter, Maddie Moo. We created the hashtag Maddie Moo, which is really cool. And I just had to repost it again today because I just want to help drive donations to this cause. And it kind of blew up already too. So, I mean, it is just so good to share and stuff like that.
Well, and I think that this, getting as a bridge back to what I specialize in, sharing is a wonderful way of building connections, because it doesn't matter if 100,000 people see it. It's nice. It's a good ego boost if 100,000 people see it, but it only matters if the person who you're targeting, let's say the original poster, it only matters if that person sees it.
Right.
It doesn't matter if 500,000 people see it. It only matters if one person sees it. And that's how I've built my network, is by, when I say targeting certain people, I mean identifying people whom I know bring value to my feed or my content, whom I'd like to learn from, whom I'd like to sidle close to, and hopefully one day have a conversation with these people. Okay. And from there, maybe cool things will happen. But like, that's the extent when I say targeting. I just want to be in this person's orbit because I think positive things will happen.
Yep.
Not because I think they owe me anything, not because I, haven't asked and I'm going to knock on their door and say, hey, where's my money? Hey, where's my deal? Okay. And so when I talk about people are very accessible, and including influencers are very accessible. So if somebody's got 100,000 followers on Instagram or on TikTok, and they only have 10,000 on Twitter, where's the best place to talk to that person? Not on Instagram, because they have all these comments to wade through. I mean, the numbers are not in your favor. Identify other platforms that person might be on and figure out how to create value for them there and help them spread their brand there. And then be patient. And not be patient like it'll take 2 or 3 weeks. And this is something that like I tell clients about. It's not gonna be 2 weeks. My rule is 10 months, not 2 weeks. Focus on where you're gonna be 10 months from now. Because it's like being a personal trainer or a therapist, right? If you wanna be healthy, you don't say, okay, I'm gonna go out and try to lose 100 pounds in 2 weeks, okay? Generally speaking, it's not going to work. And if it does, I mean, my understanding is it's probably not very healthy. My understanding, not being a doctor, that's my understanding, or a nutritionist. What do you need to do in order to get to where you want to be healthy? Yeah, you need to exercise, but you also need to eat well. You need to sleep well. You need to drink water. You need to invest and prioritize your mental health. Like, all of these things are habits that you need to adopt and consistently commit to. And 10 months down the road, you may have the body that you're looking for, or the health, more importantly, the health that you're looking for. And once you have that health, you now have a system of strategies in place to continue to do that. The same is true with networking. So yeah, you may want access to this person or these people or that customer or that potential partner or that venture capitalist, like whoever it is. Statistically speaking, it's going to be a lot easier to get access to that person over a long period of time as you continue to provide value, as you continue to prove that you're there for a long-term dialogue and not just for a short-term, are you in, yes or no, in or out. And 6 months down the line is what I tell clients is I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know exactly who you will have access to. But 6 months down the road, I guarantee you will have access to more people than you do today.
Yep.
I guarantee the whole landscape will look different if you invest in these things consistently, because it works.
Yeah, that's spot on. If you're not connected to, or you're not following or engaging with Adam Marx, you really need to, because I had that on the scroll there for at the bottom there. It only takes one connection to change your life. Adam changes lives. Whether it's through a direct connection or through his post, he is definitely changing lives. So connect, follow, and engage with this young man, because he's definitely got it going on, and always look for the orange glasses. Adam, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. It was a great conversation.
Absolutely. I'm so humbled that you invited me back on. I really look forward to our next one.
Oh yeah, we're definitely do this again. And maybe what we'll do is we'll have a little bit longer show, and we'll bring on another panel. That's what
That would be great. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Cool. All right. Well, you have yourself a great day and
Cheers.
enjoy this beautiful weather we're getting.
Yeah. Bye.